This is a Rogue Media Network podcast. This is Central Texas Life with Ann Harder.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Central Texas Life, and what a joy to welcome my two new friends here, not only to the podcast, but to Central Texas. It's great to have Endyia, who is, she and her husband, Brigg, Endyia Kinney-Sterns, your full name, and Brigg Sterns. And I met you through our mutual friend, Dr. Tyra Lindsay Warren, at Baylor. It was at a homecoming event at Baylor at the School of Business. And she said, "Oh, you have to meet these people and you have to get them on the podcast because, I mean, your resumes are just stellar and awesome. But I love to talk to people who have chosen the Central Texas area to move to sort of reinvent themselves after having just an amazing career in Hollywood. And Brigg, you're a therapist and musician, and it's just awesome to have you guys here."
No, we're really excited to be here.
Yeah.
We originally were from Fort Worth, Texas.
So you're coming home to Texas.
Yes, pretty much.
Thankfully.
Yeah, he's like, I'm so happy to be back home.
Listen, you have no idea.
Los Angeles is a special place.
It's a nice place.
Yeah.
It's cool, but it's changed a lot. You know, I think
Yeah.
the late '90s, early 2000s, it was really nice, but now it's like it's just changed a lot.
Yeah, there are a lot of people that are exiting, I know.
Yeah.
And it's just wonderful to have. So I know you have family still in Fort
Right,
Worth.
all of our family. So
Right.
we've been together since we were 16 years old.
Yeah.
Right. So we born and raised in Fort Worth. I left to go to Pepperdine, and we were long distance for 2 years. And then he says he didn't follow me.
She drugged me.
He
and
says I made him
I woke
come.
up
I did
in
it.
Los Angeles.
That is
and
right,
I-
you
and
know,
I've been
you
trying to
knew
get
you were in
back ever
California.
since. This is actually a cry for help. That's why. That's why I'm here today.
No, he was like, so you know, the Lord really blessed us though. I was able to have a successful career as a television network executive. He had a successful career as a composer for various television shows and films, and then, you know, as we continue to grow in our faith and grow as a couple, just really hearing God's voice, and me following him as he followed Christ. You know, we ended up having a home ministry, and that just really grew, and we have an amazing community of people who we just grew in our faith together. And within that, we started to feel this call back home.
Our son kind of pointed us this way too.
Yeah, a little bit.
Right,
yeah.
right. And tell me about your son. How old is he?
He is 8. The oldest is 18. The youngest is 15. But our older one,
Judah.
he was groomed since he was a kid to go to Pepperdine University in
Right,
Malibu.
right. And beautiful campus.
Right,
I mean,
because where
wonderful
my wife
place.
went.
Sure.
And he came out here and saw their astrophysics program and was like, "Hey, I'm going to Baylor." We were like,
Wait, what?
So, yeah, and we came out here for, what was it, orientation?
Yeah, it was
week?
orientation.
For orientation, and we started
June.
looking around, and we were like,
Waco.
never thought of Waco.
Yeah, never. You know, because, you know, we hadn't been back since growing up, you know, so when we were young, Waco was not
it's
the
the
Waco it is
pass and
now.
through place from
yeah,
Austin
you just
to
yeah,
Dallas.
that's
Yeah,
not
right.
where you go. But
No.
when we came in June, we were like, oh my gosh, this is
Yeah.
really an amazing city.
It has changed a
And
lot.
it's far enough away from our family
Right.
to where they can't get on
But
our
you can be
nerves,
there in
but-
90 minutes.
Exactly.
There you
And
go.
so, yeah, no, it's perfect from
Yep.
that standpoint.
You know, and what also drew us was family, right? Because
Sure.
our parents are getting older, and we just wanted to be here. It was just that season in our life where God just sort of opened up the doors and was like, it's time to go. And here we are. And I know a lot of people every time they're like, where are you from? And I'm like, oh, well, we're from Fort Worth, but we've been in LA for 27 years. They're like, why are you here? You know, like,
Yeah.
We're Texans. Like, we've never stopped
Right.
being
Never.
Texans. Even in LA, people were like, why is something different about y'all? And, you know, well, I kept my accent.
I never
she
really
lost
had-
hers.
yeah, when I was younger.
Well, you were
So-
an actor
Right.
as a child, even with Cosmaniana.
Yeah.
Theaters. So tell me a little bit about that. I mean, you kind of got the performing bug,
I did,
I guess,
you
as
know,
a child.
My father, rest his soul, he died when I was really young. I was about 2 years old. My biological father. When I refer to my dad now, it's my stepdad, who is my dad. But my father died in a car accident when I was 2. But prior to dying, we would always do commercial. Like he would recite commercials with me, and I love Shirley Temple. So he would let me walk around in my tap shoes, and I had Shirley Temple curls, and I just was like, I'm gonna be the Black Shirley Temple. I'm gonna be on that TV. I'm gonna, that's just what I wanted to do since very, very young. And my mom around 4 asked me, well, what do you really want to do? And I said, I want to be on that. She had no clue. Fort Worth, Texas, I don't know how to get you on TV, but I know Casa Mañana. There's a lot of famous people that come through there sometimes. Yeah. And if you can do it, let's see what happens. I mean, my mom, she is like a shero for real in my life. Like anytime I dreamt or wanted to do anything, it was never a matter of could you, it's like, how do we make it happen? And so she's always been that. And she's like that for pretty much everybody she meets. But in my case, I went to an open audition at 4. At 4 years old.
You were confident,
and I was
little thing?
Absolutely, like 4.5, almost 5. And I got the part, and they ended up putting me on staff, kind of. Like I was like in summer stock. So every summer I would do all the shows. I got my equity card.
Wow.
And she was right. From there, somebody saw me and wanted to represent me, a Hollywood agent. And so I would go to California every pilot season and audition and do various things. And I was in films and movies and commercials and print work and, all from Fort Worth, Texas, So I would have to say, yes, Hollywood, all of that has sort of been in my life since I was a kid. And as I got older, I realized that, being in front of the camera, there's not a lot of control. And I realized that I wanted to be more of a change agent. Like I saw that there weren't a lot of parts for me, people that look like me. And I said, I want to go behind the scenes. I wanted to know more about the business to be able to be in a seat where I can say yes. And so, I just worked really hard, got to open up doors. And that's kind of how I ended up getting in front to behind.
Yeah, that was something I wanted to know because it's got to be so rewarding for you as a creative to have a concept for a television show, and you were with the Oprah Winfrey Network and several different ones, BET Network, and so how does all that process work? I'm sure you have a team of wonderful, smart people around you too.
It's so interesting. People are like, so what does that mean? You say you're network executive. So basically, think of it like assembly line, kind of, like where somebody comes in with an idea. My job as an executive for whatever network that I'm representing is to identify programs that will speak to the audience, that are in line with the mission and intention of the network. And then once I've identified that, and I'm like, yes, that's a good idea, then it's my job to make sure that it is created and developed.
Cast,
all of the things from marketing to... I work with every department in the network, marketing, scheduling. There's so many things. That's why there's always a laundry list of names behind every show that you watch, right? I can tell you, I don't have to tell you that. But it's my job to oversee all of that. So that it was a very stressful job, but rewarding to some degree.
Well, and of course, when you were a student at Pepperdine, you already knew this was kind of the direction you wanted to go? Or
No.
What were you thinking you wanted to do?
I knew I wanted to act, but I thought I was just going to own my own production company at that time. Yeah. And not really ever thought about being an executive at the time. I just was like, I wanted to create content that I would star in. You know what I mean? That was the plan.
Not? Yeah.
And that's kind of the idea. But the behind the scenes came once once I was out there, when I was older and I was out in the world and out in the industry, I'm like, this is crazy. Out of 5 opportunities, right? There's hundreds of people, right, going for the one part.
Yeah.
And again, there are people out there who are like, I'm going to starve and make it happen. I love acting.
Right.
I don't like starving.
Yeah.
Starving
is not good. Yeah.
Starving is not fun. So I was like, there's got to be, I wasn't so hungry for that fame.
Right.
And not to say that everybody that does that is hungry for that. I just knew there was more, and I came from a laundry list of women in my life, my grandmother, my mother, who are entrepreneurs. They own their own businesses. They they literally have a vision and they execute and they go.
Yeah.
And so that was always in me.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I
have a pet belief that you can't be taught that it's something kind
it's
of innate.
in you,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I was like, this is not, I don't like this. I don't like it's because especially when you're auditioning, sometimes it's not even about your gift.
Right.
It's just, who do you know, or
Yeah.
is it a look, or
Yeah, do you have the right
and
look
I'm like,
for whatever?
this is crazy. Like my very existence is dependent upon somebody's like feeling for the day. I just didn't like those odds.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's more to this. But what really moved me was wanting to build other opportunities for people, not just for myself, but for my friends who were in the same boat. So.
Yeah, it sounds like you did. Brigg, a little bit about you and how you got into the whole music thing. I mean, I guess you grew up in a church with fabulous music,
and grew up playing in church since I was like a kid. And
Sure.
the funny part is I was always drawn to like music scores and background, music and television shows without even kind of knowing
Really?
what it was. It's for
But it's such an important part.
It is,
in the
like,
viewer's enjoyment of whatever it is.
100%. Like
Yeah.
I think my favorite part is funny. Growing up in church was always to play when people were talking or something.
Oh
'cause I
yeah,
could-
just kind of just sort of
Score it.
improvising on the piano or when they're praying. I have such admiration for folks who could do that.
Yeah, so it was funny when I came to LA. I started kind of just more so working with like kind of singer-songwriter things, and I got called for like this random session one time, like a piano session, and I was like, yeah, I'll go do it. And so while I'm there, the guy there, who's a real good friend of mine now, it's funny thinking back about that, but he was doing the music for the Jenny Jones show. And
I remember,
and he was like, man, I'm trying to create this opening, but I don't know what to do. So he's trying to give me stuff to play, and none of it is working. And he said, you know what? I know you produce. I got to take a run, see what you come up with. I'll be back. So he left. By the time he came back, I had did the whole opening for the show. And he was like, oh, dude, you did it. Like,
This is it.
He was like, there's nothing I
Oh
can
my
do.
gosh.
So thankfully, he was a good guy. So we split the production credit. And then after that, I was like, oh, there's something here, So then I started doing more kind of like show openings, and so it's funny because I don't really do it as much now because of the counseling. But even before coming out here, I got a couple calls. Like a friend called, hey, man, we doing this show for BET. We need a Christmas song. You got something? I sent it. I was literally signing the paperwork as we was moving out of my house. Then I got another call from. I produced a song for this Russian artist called Endyia, and that was so random out of nowhere. And my guy said, yeah, we need it for this documentary that they're trying to put up for an Oscar this year. And I'm like,
wow.
Why
we'll
not?
see.
Oh, yeah.
So, we actually moved in our house in Waco, so I tried to hurry up and put my little mini studio together so I could send them the files, and I sent them the files. And it's some documentary called Uncharted. With Ed Norton. I think he's doing the overdubs over it. So it's a pretty big deal. But
Yeah, it's a very big deal.
Yeah, apparently the song that I wrote and produced is like the end credit song. So I guess it was so it's like when I get those calls.
How wonderful.
Yeah, when I get those calls, I'll do it. But for the most part, some people know me as a producer. Some know me as their therapist. Some know me as their pastor. And sometimes they don't even know that I do.
They cross-pollinate,
This is just awesome.
Well, they know now.
To
But
hear all
he's
this from you.
so modest. Like, he is an
Yeah.
amazing...
India.
You are... I know he gets so mad.
Don't do it.
What? He is modest. But he is an amazing composer.
No, she is amazing.
Oh, whatever.
Look at that smile.
Oh my
Look
God!
at this glow.
Shut up! I can't stand you.
Just short, and
Don't
small, and
don't
petite.
try to redirect.
You two
Distract.
are so darling. But I mean, you are people of faith.
Yes,
And I think you
100%.
have to see the hand of God in these opportunities. That you just go, what?
Right.
That's 100% what it was.
100%,
I think
yeah.
one of the most dangerous things about, I'll say, living in California is that if you don't know your identity,
Yeah.
it will give you one. And I think our identity has always been in Christ, right? Always. Like even, like our moving here is such a miracle. Like it was,
Miracle.
like this wasn't something, at the start of 2023, if you would have told us that we were going to move to Texas,
Was
we
not the
probably
plan.
would have laughed at you. Because like even though in the back of our minds, we've been saying it's kind of time to get back, we didn't
Yeah.
have anything in play. So I prayed and I said, okay, God, if our assignment here is up, can we please go back to Texas? And so my sign was, okay, I'm going to put our house on the market, but we only have, and I told my realtor, who's a believer, follower of Christ, I said, we have this week of orientation. You have this week to put the house on the market.
The orientation is when we dropped him off in August.
When you
that's right,
came
I'm
to
sorry.
Baylor, yeah.
Right. So when we came to Baylor in June, that was just orientation. But when we were bringing him back for good in August.
Okay, there you go.
Oh,
so we had a week.
Dropping your baby here.
So I tell you have a week, and I said I don't want a for sale sign in the yard. Just private sale, whoever you can do, and then we'll figure it out. By the end of the week, appointment only. By the end of the week, we had like 5 offers. One was a cash offer.
Above asking.
So literally we
no
went,
contingencies.
Yeah. So,
that's when you know, yes, Lord.
Absolutely.
So
people want handwriting on the wall, you know.
I tell her we have a fleece ministry, right?
I
need that thing dry, wet.
Fleece before the Lord, yeah.
Yes, because it's these some interesting times we live in, right? And it's,
they are. And in real estate, things are really
up and down.
Wonky. So I
mean, especially in LA, like it was crazy because nothing was moving.
Yeah.
And that's why we were like, okay, if God wants us to go, then He's got to make it clear. And He was ready to go. I was ready to go if God said go, but I wasn't like, let's go right now. A little bit because LA was really crazy.
You know the story about Lot's wife?
Oh, whatever.
I'm just
what was keeping me? What was making it hard were my friends and my family.
I know. I mean, you had a life there 27 years.
Yeah.
27 years. All of our adult life was there. You know?
We actually joke about that, but I was like, I actually do feel bad more for Lot's wife now because I never really thought about that story of like when your whole life is there. We always preach and teach that sermon. When God says go, you go.
Yeah, you put hands up, you go.
You know, and it's like, ooh, but you do have these attachments and these, you know, because those people, we have some people who genuinely, like I can say, were like family there.
Brothers and sisters.
Really love. But when it was time to go,
we had to go.
It's fun to visit.
Yeah.
Have you been back to visit?
No. I mean, I was going to go this week, but some other things came up here, and but we'll eventually go back.
Yeah, we're thinking about maybe making a family trip March to do Indian Wells tennis tournament because my younger son is.
Okay, now I want to talk a little bit because Tyra said, "Oh, and their son is really becoming the star tennis player." So I said, "Okay,
I ain't gonna say
let's
a
talk
star.
about it." Well,
he's working on it. He's
good for him.
I'm really proud of his progression. But he's loves tennis, and we go up to the Waco Regional Tennis Center. I love the people up there. Really
They're
good.
Great.
Right.
Britt and Kenna and John, great coaches.
Oh yeah, they're great coaches there, and we were tennis parents too. And I mean, I miss those days.
So
it's a season, you know. Yeah. But ZAT tournaments we would go to all.
Oh my gosh, we have one this weekend in Austin. Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess he's a champ player. He's in the champs
in the tournaments.
USTA, yeah.
Right. Well, I'm always in January. They'd have one in Wichita Falls. Coldest I've ever been watching. And of course, the kids, they're down to their T-shirts because they're running around and we're like,
and that's the adjustment. And I had to tell him, I'm like, dude, he's a California kid to the core. So he's like, whoo, I'm like, yeah, we could play year round all the time.
Yeah.
Here's
really,
like,
maybe 6-8 weeks, January, February-ish but yeah, you pretty much can. I'm a tennis player too, so you can play. You can play all the time, and the worst thing is the wind. You know, you have to fight the wind come March. But anyway,
so we'll see if he's a star. He's a lefty. Super.
Oh yeah, well my son was too. Yeah, that
gives you an advantage.
I mean,
that spin.
That's a very much an advantage. Yeah. So good for him. Well, yeah, it just sounds like even though it was a major transition for your family to make this change, that it's just the Lord's kind of made the way smooth for you.
Yes,
He
ma'am.
has, even down to the school. Like our son goes to Live Oak Classical, and they've been so welcoming, so sweet. The administration there has been amazing, and he's just sort of acclimated very well.
Good.
So we're really, I mean, honestly, you know, it's so true what the Word of God says. Like when God is in it, it adds no sorrow, and it has not. He has been providing across the board for us, mentally, spiritually, everything, emotionally.
It's been tough though, a little bit.
I mean, any transition it is. Yeah, like because in the very beginning, you know, of like.
Well, he has friends. I mean, it's that's what you miss is the people.
Yeah, and we have to have a family meeting. I was like, okay, let's give each other a lot of grace because this is gonna be interesting. You know what I'm saying? And the funny part is, I didn't realize. I thought, even though I'm prepping the family, I'm like, wait a minute, why are we arguing so much over where to hang a picture at? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, that's
you
not.
You can always move it.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, that's not what's really happening. What's really happening is emotionally, everything is hitting, and it's like life is gonna be new again, and it's like, just calm down, pray.
Well, so all your training is a therapist?
You know,
You get to do a little self-help here?
you know what I'm saying? Deep breaths, grounding.
Whatever. That's what I'm gonna start. That's what I'll start doing in the middle of it. I'm like, "Are you grounding? Can we ground right now?
Whatever.
Go to the room and ground, please."
Okay, sister.
Well, you know, it really is wonderful for me to get to speak to so many different people, different walks of life, Nashville musicians, you know, people that are just really have stellar careers and just feel like the Lord told them to come to Waco.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just awesome.
This is a special place. I'll say that. I didn't expect, even when we visited, I didn't expect for us to be kind of like taken into even some of the communities that we've been connected with, from our neighbors to parents at our kids' school. I'm like, wow, this is a little quicker than so much so to where I'm like, this is weird. You know, because we're normally the people in LA who are like
welcoming and bringing people in.
So
Yeah.
it's cool to receive that, this time around.
Good,
So, yeah.
good. Well, just another confirmation.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, of everything. So what's in store? I mean, what are you creatively? What are you doing? What are you? You know, you've made this big move.
Yes.
Now what?
You tell me. No, I'm kidding. Babe, what is the Lord telling you?
Man, well, I mean, the stuff that we're doing, I think hasn't changed. She's still creating shows.
Right.
I'm actually.
So you can do that from home.
Oh,
from
but
anywhere,
listen,
yeah.
COVID was a blessing.
Yeah.
In so many ways. I mean, you know, it definitely was heartbreaking in a lot of others personally. That we're still, you know, we still have friends who are still struggling through health issues as a result and lost family members. But in the midst of that too, COVID also taught us, a lot of people in the industry, that you can do whatever you want to do from anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think, it was crazy. Like, I'm doing meetings with people in Tokyo and London, you know, on a Zoom, you know, and, you know, whereas, you know, before you'd have to go into the meetings, you have to go into these networks, you have to be there.
Travel, and all that, yeah.
Not anymore, you know, and
it's
so
really
coming out of COVID, I still, being in LA, I am doing Zooms with people who are down the street.
Yeah.
You know, like, people are not coming into the offices, they're not, and so it really freed me up to be confident that I'd be able to still do what I enjoy doing from home.
Yep.
And I can fly up, you know, it's a quick flight,
Right.
there and back, but if I need to for any bigger meetings, but yeah, I'm really grateful for that. So.
Yeah.
But along with the stuff that we're creating, because she's creating shows, I'm actually finishing up a book that I'm putting out. You'll appreciate this. It's actually,
I have to have you back. I love interviewing authors.
This
love
topic we will talk about for days, because it's basically to help parents deal with their children when they're in sports, because youth sports is this $1 billion business now, and there are so many parents who you put your kid in a sport, but you don't realize what you're really getting into. So it's kind of to help their kind of like be intentional about parenting, as opposed to coming more of that coach parent ruining the relationship with the child, because I've sat with families where they didn't even realize when did the relationship with the child go bad, when they start playing a sport, because they didn't realize it. When I'm screaming at you on the basketball court, I'm screaming at you on that started to sound the same as clean your room. So basically it's a book to help parents along that, but it's not just sports. It's sports is the backdrop, but it's really a parenting book to help parents deal with their children and nurture their gifts and their talents. So
they need that.
Yeah.
They need that.
So yeah, along with that and music stuff, we're both really just praying and asking God what He wants us to do specifically here in Waco as well. You know, because I told her, I don't want to just go in there and say, oh, this is what we normally do, let's do it. I'm like, this move was so divine. I'm like, there has to be a specific reason God has us here, and I just want to be open for whatever that is.
Yeah, and He'll honor that. I mean, He will definitely honor that.
Yes,
this has just been such a delight for me to
thank
get to visit with you and hear about your journey and what brought you to Central Texas and what you think, you know, might be ahead. I like to end these little visits with a similar questionnaire to the one the late, great James Lipton would use on Inside the Actor's Studio.
Oh,
So I'll kind of alternate between the two of you. or you both can answer, but I'm going to ask. I'll start out with Endyia. What is your favorite word?
Well, I'll tell you the word that's been resonating with me for quite some time is humility. Oh my God, and I'm hungry.
Yes,
I don't know what that is. It's growling.
They didn't hear it. They couldn't even hear
They
it.
couldn't hear it.
I don't think that's coming through the mic.
It's fine. Humility. See, I am transparent and vulnerable. I can tell you when my stomach is growling.
There's some great restaurants just down the street. Yeah.
No, there are.
Milo's.
So humility.
Yeah.
Only because it is something that I really believe God is working with me. I think continuously, I think with everybody, right? But it's so important to have that in the forefront, to be able to be an effective woman of God, effective wife, mother, friend, daughter, and just to be effective in my ministry, no matter what that is, whether my ministry is where I work, all of the things.
Sure.
So humility, just trying to be closer to God and making sure that it's not about me, but about Him.
Well, and this is a woman who was named by Essence magazine as one of the top female executives in Hollywood. I mean, really, you're a big deal.
Thank you.
People know you.
She's little, but she's a big deal.
You're sweet.
Whatever. No, I mean, so that just really speaks to your spiritual depth and maturity. What about you, Brigg? Favorite word?
Oh.
Supercalifragilistic.
Right. I was trying to pick some trivia because I didn't want to be like, they're being so spiritual.
But that's really who we are,
It would be Christ, for sure. I'll never grow numb to the gospel of Jesus Christ. I'll never grow numb to this idea that while I was a sinner, Christ died for me.
Amen.
That is, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, least favorite word?
Can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't have Endyia. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
From my husband. Can't. Like, I'm like, there is
keep
always...
spending money. You can't keep decorating this house so we don't have a house. You can't grow anymore.
Can't. Or just, you can't do something like... I just never grew up that way.
Yeah.
You know,
and obviously your mother was like, okay, how do we do it?
What are we going to do? Yeah, like, let's go.
How are we going to make this
Let's
happen?
try to make it happen.
Yeah.
So I'm always, and thank God I do have a husband who's very good with, like, helping me to manage some of that, because I'm always like, let's go, let's do it, let's make it happen.
Right.
How to make it happen? It's not about what we can't do or, how, the negative part about it. Like, how do we, like, what's the positive? How do we flip that, And so it's definitely been a great tool to have to be successful and to grow and to be fearless to some degree. You just need the Holy Spirit to temper, sometimes it is like, maybe you can, but maybe you shouldn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep. Just because you can do that doesn't mean you should do that. Yeah. What about you, Brigg?
She kind of mentioned it.
Least favorite word?
Fear.
Yeah.
Yeah. It kills faith.
Sure does.
Yeah.
What turns you on then, creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
You know what gets me super excited is when people are drawn closer to God in some way.
Yeah.
Whether it's like if I'm speaking, because I do a lot of motivational speaking, or even in a project that I'm doing, even how the set is feeling, like that's what gets me excited is the ability to touch people and to connect with people and for them to see the light of Christ, even if they don't really know what it is.
Right. Right.
That
it's not
really
like
is
you're
what,
beating a Bible and hitting them over the head with it. It's
But like God says, our
life
is a living epistle for all to read.
Absolutely,
and I think we miss that. I think people are, me included, it all takes growing, right? In the beginning of my walk, sometimes it was very sort of like legalistic, like, I don't do this, I don't do that, I don't do that, because Christians don't do that, Christians don't do this, Right. But then when you really get closer to Christ, He really transforms you to where, like, really how we are, like what this is, it's just from growth. It's just from learning, growing, maturing, reading our word, getting closer to the Father. And it's just it's just part of who we are. Right. So when people connect with us, we can't, like, there's never going to be a time where we talk and I don't bring up Christ, because it's like He lives inside of me. I don't even know. How do you not, talk about this living, breathing spirit that is operating that's a superpower. Like, how do you not, you know what I mean? So I'm just really grateful for that. And that's what draws me to want to do.
Yeah. But what about you? You're a creative person as well. What kind of turns you on creatively? And
Creatively, I would say it's always growth. Growth, yeah. Growth, of course, spiritually, even growth creatively. You know, I enjoy growing. The goal, I tell anybody I'm, counseling is the goal is always growth, right? It's not perfection, but if you can continue to grow, that's it. Just don't become stagnant. No matter what age you are, no matter what weaknesses you have, just keep the goal of growth.
Yeah. What turns you off creatively or spiritually or emotionally?
Negative people.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, they're back to the can't.
Especially
kind of
her.
thing, yeah.
Tell them. What is it? Tell them.
Yeah, because she's glowy, right? So if somebody's
glowy,
if somebody's negative, it's just like it's like.
What are we doing?
It's like
why?
Yeah.
Go in the corner, sit over there.
Yeah.
Like, no. Which, you know, what's funny is that they call me the talent whisperer too, because I think it's the Holy Spirit, really, because I don't give you room. Like I don't give you room to be negative. It's gonna be so positive and engaging, not fake, right? But just generally, to where you being ridiculous is stupid. You know what I mean? Like you just look so dumb that you don't even want to be that. You know what I mean? And so I'm just grateful that God has placed that inside of me, because who has time for that? Right. You know? So anyway, that's funny, but it is true.
What sound do you love the most, Brigg?
Ooh, that's a good question.
You're a musician. I mean,
you're
producer, record producer. I mean,
you know what's
you
funny?
Deal with that.
I have two sounds that I would say equal.
Oh, I'm excited to hear. What are they?
Be quiet.
I have heard silence.
This is funny. I love will be orchestral music.
That's true.
One of our friends was like one of the top cellists in L.A. So whenever she would play with like the L.A. Chamber Orchestra and Hollywood Bowl Orchestra, and she would always like, "Hey, come to my show." And it's kind of our stories were so like brother and sister in a sense too, because it's like when she first started really getting into like cello, like I remember when she was first getting into it as opposed to where she is now. So anytime I'm sitting there and I'm listening to this orchestra, it's just like this magic feeling. And also quiet. I love silence.
Right.
You know,
I have heard that before.
Yeah, because my wife is like, I don't see how you can't sleep to music as much as you love music. And I said, because you're hearing music and I'm seeing it. Like I'm analyzing everything they're doing, and I'm like,
you're working.
Right. Why didn't they go there?
Exactly.
That was great, but I wouldn't.
That part right there.
Yeah, I can't study to music. I can't. The only music I can study to, which is hilarious, is like EDM music, like
really?
Because it's so brainless.
Right. That's just sort of white noises.
Yeah. After the first 4 bars, you know the whole song, so I don't have to analyze it anymore. So I got 4 bars, I know the song, and I can study to it. But like,
What about you, Endyia? In fact, Tyra says I think she's a singer too. So.
Oh no! I mean, listen,
Broadway singer.
I was in theater since I was 4. So
I said, well, she's been an actor, so I bet she's sung too.
Singing and doing all the things, right? Right. So I can do a little Broadway Hello Dolly for you any minute.
Okay. Yeah.
But I'm not like like he's dealing with like big time, studio singers, and that's not what I do. I can carry it too, but but. What was the question? I forgot.
Your favorite sound.
My favorite sound. I really do love orchestral music, actually. But my favorite.
And I'm going to be chairman of the nomination committee for the board for the Waco Symphony Orchestra. So I think I got 2 hot prospects right here.
But really, my favorite sound is listening to him play. Hands down, him just playing is just magical. Like I've been telling him.
I think it's because she loves me.
No.
And she does.
I'm very critical though. I don't just blow smoke. I tell you the truth. And his instrumentals are amazing. Like I begged him, and finally for like my birthday, for our anniversary, he made an album just for me of all instrumental music. and I love it. And I'm like, you need to put this out. This is crazy. Like, so one day we're gonna come back. I'm like, guess what?
Yeah, we've got an album.
He's got
and a book.
instrumental album out finally. But he is so talented.
Good.
Like he's really, really. I love it. I love it. That's my favorite.
Okay, so what sound do you hate? Just can't take it.
I was
He's
gonna say
laughing.
people sing it really flat, but I actually enjoy that, especially when they really feel it.
That's not true, baby.
Because it's entertaining.
No, he can't take it. He's trying to lie to himself right now. Whenever he hears flat, he's like, oh, it's like chalk. You know, when you
Right,
got, like,
right.
your
Fingernails
nails
on the
chalkboard.
blackboard.
Yeah, like he's like, oh, okay. That's his thing. I don't know. I mean, not to beat a dead horse, but I guess negative people talking.
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
me,
just
or me
sort of.
telling you no.
Yeah, wah,
Or
kind
him
of a,
telling me
yeah,
no.
yeah.
But yeah, the
Yeah.
negativity, yeah.
Okay, what other profession would you like to have tried? You've just done so many amazing things, both of you. Was there something that was like, oh, I wish I could do that,
What would that be?
I'm so thankful. I don't know.
I know, I am too. I've never thought about something else. Other than
Okay,
what I'm
well,
doing.
that's good. That's an answer.
I'll take that back.
What?
A basketball player. Come
Oh,
on.
of
Wow.
course.
Sports.
First of
always.
all, the
Or a
reason
tennis
why
player.
that didn't come up is because he is in his head an NBA player.
even though I'm old.
You're right. So
Right.
that never crossed his mind because he already is.
He
an
already
NBA
is an
player.
NBA player.
Oh yeah, basketball player or a tennis player.
Oh,
Are you
yeah.
kidding me? To be Rafa Nadal and
Oh,
my
gosh.
the head rag and yeah,
What?
the headband.
Oh, yeah, the headband and the big Nike contract
Hey,
and all that.
there's
What do I
stuff
want to do? I acted. I performed. That's all I've ever wanted to do.
Well,
yeah, God is good.
then
He is good.
conversely, what profession you would never want to do? No,
Ooh.
thank you. Don't want to do that.
So many things.
Yeah.
I can get down and dirty
Yeah,
if I have to.
right.
But if like in the farm, like shoveling poop and
Yeah, working,
all
doing
that.
farming life.
I think that's beautiful though.
I know. See, that's you. I could do it,
Right.
but it's
Like
not
if you had
something
a
I'm
farm
like.
out in West, and
I
you
could
were,
do
you were
it.
gonna
I could get out there and I
have
can
sheep or
make it happen.
Yeah, she's not.
But
You
that
know-
is not.
That would not be
Can
your
I tell
favorite
you what's
thing.
hilarious about her? She has these beautiful ideas of like, let's go to the beach, let's go camping, because she sees it in her mind like a scene, right?
Right.
But when you actually get out there, after
There's
about
sand.
yeah, it's hot. Like it's the beach, it's the sun. Then we go camping. She don't want a log cabin. She needs like an apartment that's out
yeah.
there. She calls glamping, right?
Yeah, I understand.
I'm like, babe,
I get that. I'm right
But
there
I
with you.
can see. He's trying to be funny. We went to a camp. I'm telling on myself now. I don't know how much time we got, but we went to a camp, and I didn't know that I had signed up for the really, really, really nice place on the hill.
Oh.
I thought it was like a.
It wasn't a log cabin. This was
I thought it was a log
It had
cabin,
a
but
flat screen TV, and I'm like, this defeats the purpose. We could
Yeah.
have did this at home.
Camp
With
Finfo out
granite,
here. It's
Right.
kind of like
granite
that. Yeah.
tabletops.
I saw
and
that
like,
place.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. So it was just like I was like, I didn't know it was this nice.
I apologize.
I apologize.
But
I'm
you're
sorry,
like, you're
but
like,
I'm not
yes,
sorry.
I'm
Yeah.
so glad. This is just how I
We
like
did
it.
have wild peacocks visit us.
Oh wow,
That was a little
How
like in
fun.
the,
Yeah.
Okay, babe.
Anyway,
Okay, last question. When you arrive at the pearly gates, what do you want to hear God say to you?
well done.
Yeah.
Well done, my good and faithful servant. Absolutely. That is what I'm striving for. I always tell people I don't want to do anything where I have to have unnecessary conversations with Jesus.
Yeah.
I don't. That's not a conversation I want to have. Like, Endyia, why did you?
That's right.
I don't know, Lord. I don't know what I was thinking. No, I don't want that.
Yeah.
So I want to hear well done.
Oh, you both are knocking it out of the park. You're just doing things so well, and I'm just thrilled to get to spend some time with you. And I hope this expands to many, many more other visits as we learn more about your journey and your time here in Central Texas. But I'm just grateful grateful that the Lord did bring you here and brought you here to Central Texas Life.
Thank you
Again,
so much for
many
having us,
Brigg
Ann.
Stearns and Endyia Kinney.
You could just
I'm
say
just
Endyia
going to change your
Sterns.
name
Yeah,
all over the place.
that's
But
fine.
Endyia Kinney-Sterns. And you two are just awesome.
Thank
Appreciate you so
Ann.
much.
Happiness.
And
It's been a
thank you
pleasure.
for being with us. And we'll see you again next time on Central Texas Life. Bye-bye.
Central Texas Life with Ann Harder is part of the Rogue Media family. Be sure to check out our other shows at roguemedianetwork.com. Please rate this show 5 stars on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, or anywhere you get your podcasts. Join us again soon for more Central Texas Life with Ann Harder. This has been a Rogue Media Network production.